All right, back on Personal Pension Radio. You might also be watching this on Wealth Protector TV, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're grabbing this. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Kraig Strom. I am the income engineer, but I am joined again today by my friend Pete Tentler, the financial locksmith. How you doing, Pete?
Good, Kraig.
I love it. Now, full disclosure, we're in the midst of a royalty battle right now, or at least Pete doesn't know it, but my lawyers, all 5 of them, think that we've got a shot because Pete actually got the title of financial locksmith on this podcast,
Right.
several years ago. Yeah, we're really going back through all of the court cases to figure out what we could do, but for now, we'll just call it even.
Fair enough.
And quick question, so I don't forget. The picture behind you, is that one of those pictures you just got at Target and you just left the beautiful woman in the picture?
Oh, no.
Oh, oh, is
My wife.
Cassidy. So she is real.
Yeah, she's real. You were at the wedding.
Yes, just had to give you a hard time. How
Thank
are you
you.
doing with the quarantine, being hunkered down and so forth?
Fine. I've always had a home office, and so I've got everything dialed in here the way I need it. I'm used to, like you, I'm used to being out and meeting with people all the time. So that's gotten different.
Yeah, that's changed. That's changed a lot. Well, folks who've listened to this podcast, Personal Pension Radio, you know that I've actually had a connection with Pete now for a number of years. I forget, 4, 5, 6 years.
Longer than that, yeah.
I forget how we had connected through a business organization that we both belonged to. And then ultimately, Pete helped my mom with her reverse mortgage. Just a quick story to that is that when my father passed away at 58, he passed away young, cancer got him, and it was just a game over. My mom, unfortunately, was not in a great financial spot because my dad was immortal and he was going to live forever so that he didn't need more life insurance and so forth. So she was not in the best of situations. So as her financial planner, I put a plan in motion to help her get away from renting for the rest of her life. She was in an apartment and she was subsequently able to buy a home. And then, according to plan, Pete, who is a reverse mortgage expert extraordinaire, came in and helped her put together a reverse mortgage program on this home so she can live there essentially rent-free, mortgage payment-free
Right.
for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And she is fantastic. Just for you, Pete, to let you know, my mom continues to rent out rooms to medical students at the local hospital, and not having a mortgage or a rent payment allows her a tremendous amount of comfort and security. So thumbs up to you, my friend.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Outstanding. Well, the reason that I invited Pete to be back on the show with me today is we are in the midst of an unprecedented time in the world, in the United States for sure, but in the world in general with this coronavirus pandemic. And the demographic most at risk are the folks who are reverse mortgage candidates, folks who fit in that reverse mortgage box as far as qualifying. And I wanted to get some feedback from you, Pete. This world of coronavirus, how has it changed the reverse mortgage, what it's being used for, the questions that you're getting? Let's kind of start with, an overview of your thoughts on the topic.
That's a great question because once the quarantine got into place and then suddenly the Dow Jones, Wall Street just took a nosedive, the phone started ringing from the estate planning attorneys, financial planners, a CPA, saying, my senior clients have been depending on the retirement fund for income or cash flow.
Right.
And right now we don't want them tapping into money that's in a down market for a couple of reasons. You don't want to sell in the down market anyway. That's panicking. Number 2, you're paying capital gains or income tax on that.
Right.
So some of these people are calling me are regular referral sources. Some of them are new. And they're saying, Pete, remember, we've always heard you talking about creating a reverse mortgage equity line.
Yes, exactly. The
And
equity
how you
line
can,
kind of as a safety cushion, right?
yeah, it's a safety net. The one new person, he's a CPA, he said, my clients don't need any money. Should we wait to get a reverse mortgage when they do need money, or should we get it now? So we had a conversation finding out what their goals are, and his conclusion within a couple of minutes was we should set this up now. Even though they're not borrowing any money, we have that credit line established at a historic low interest rate, at historic high home value. So there's a lot of equity, there to create a nice big credit line, and there's no mortgage payments.
Yeah, no. So folks that are new to the show and those who listen to Personal Pension Radio over the years now, you probably have gathered that Pete and I have had a conversation prior to recording that there are certain investment in Wall Street terms that we just don't say on my show, because I am an actual legitimate certified financial planning professional. And that means that I have all this wonderful regulatory oversight, unlike our financial entertainer friends. So we just have to make sure that, we actually say things like investments and we don't say other words. Pete and I, we have an understanding. So if you're listening and you're new and you're wondering why we're not being more specific, well, it's because we generally want to be general. We don't want to be exactly specific. Pete, I love the idea, though, that you mentioned that retirees, folks who are already in retirement, this is like the worst of all times to be stressed about taking withdrawals from their retirement accounts, and perhaps even the worst times. There's this phrase that I use called reverse dollar cost averaging, where you take out money and the market takes out money because it went down. You're taking a double hit.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying here, that the equity line or a reverse mortgage in general can come in as that stopgap. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. It's a safety net that they don't have to panic. They don't have to do a panic sell. They have this credit line available to them at any time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, how has the coronavirus situation affected the underwriting process for these things? I mean, kind of take me through the steps of any changes that might have happened.
The underwriting process hasn't changed. What has changed were appraisal inspections and signing scheduling. So I've got a client right now. He's signing as we're talking right now, and he's calling me last night around 7 o'clock at night. He goes, Pete, I'm kind of worried about somebody coming in. We're seniors, and we're most vulnerable to this invisible death that's coming in. And so we talked about it for a while, and so he's got a table. They're going to be across from each other, far enough apart. He's got masks, he's got gloves.
So your signers that are doing these are working specifically with seniors. They're coming in fully coronavirus protected up. They've got their masks, their gloves, they're aware of it. Okay.
Taking their shoes off before they come in. The other part is the appraisals. So every once in a while, the appraiser will say, okay, we just need to do a drive-by or a curbside inspection. We don't need to come into the home. Occasionally they say, no, we have to be in the home. So I created a checklist for my clients to say, these are some of the things you need to prepare for. 10 minutes before the appointment, go around, turn on all the lights in every room.
Right.
He's going to want the lights on. He wants to take pictures. He needs a light. And this way, he doesn't touch the light switch. And probably the same thing with the appliances. Make sure that you're the one that's turning on the appliances. He'll show up with gloves. He'll show up with masks. Ask him to tell him beforehand, you're going to be taking your shoes off before you come in.
Right.
And then that way he will A, know to wear socks, and B, know to wash his feet so he doesn't stink up the place.
No, that's a very good point. Everybody's taking all of the necessary cautions, and it doesn't sound like there's much more that is intrusive other than you've got to have certain things that, for example, you got to sign some documents. Sometimes you actually have to have an inspection, but it sounds like if you've lit up the house and you maintain your social distance when they come to visit, they don't have to touch much. They're just walking through, doing their thing, and then they're out.
Yeah, and they're doing it quickly. So what we're saying, we're all in this together, and the appraisers understand it, the notaries understand it, and my clients understand it. So just we'll get through this. I'm certain we're going to get through this. And,
Gotcha. Well, you brought up something I wanted to kind of back up to, that one of your recent connections that you had shared with me as well was a CPA, and God bless the CPAs that actually get into a consultative mode with their clients. I love it when CPAs go a step beyond just processing taxes. You told me about the CPA that was really counseling with their client, and then comes to you with this introduction to discuss reverse mortgage. I have heard too many times to count people say, well, gosh, that's got to be expensive on my taxes if I get this. What's the tax implication of a reverse mortgage? Is there anything in there?
Very, very important question. And this is why the CPA did his due diligence. So you're selling investments that are sometimes subject to income or capital gains tax. The proceeds that you draw from a reverse mortgage are tax-free.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing on a CPA's mind is,
right,
how do we get you to not to pay taxes?
Exactly.
Let's use, you've worked hard all your life. You've got the home either paid down or paid off. This is now an opportunity,
right,
while you're retired. Now put the house to work. Put the house to work for you. Have the house start paying you income or money when you need to upgrade or update or repair. And you have all this equity in the home that you built up. And guess what? It's coming to you tax-free.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I can put another bow on all of that. That's just a perfect situation. And CPAs, like many professional advisors, oftentimes have a bad taste in their mouths about reverse mortgage, and that's just because they just don't fully understand it.
I think that's going to be a universal truth. I'm going to second that, third, fourth, and fifth. That I will stand up on any soapbox anywhere when someone says that reverse mortgage is terrible, right? Oh, I heard Tom Selleck pitching those, and that's a horrible thing. My immediate response is, you do not know what you're talking about. You have no idea, and anybody listening to you should stop soon, right? Education first before you start proclaiming judgment, because I haven't heard one single story from you, Pete, where an attorney or a CPA or an investment advisor, a certified financial planner has been educated and then said, oh, that's witchcraft. And they've all gone exactly that. What? This is amazing, right?
They say the only negative thing they say is that it sounds too good to be true. That's it. And then I usually get why aren't we putting all our clients into this?
Exactly.
Every once in a while.
I've always said this, and you've heard me say it before, right? That the one downside for a reverse mortgage that I always remind people of is there may be, not always, but there may be less inheritance for your kids. Mm-hmm. But I follow that up quickly with, didn't you spend on average of $250,000 to $300,000 raising them? Well, yeah, I did. So you give them a paid off house. Wait a minute.
Yeah, and it's oftentimes it's the adult children that are calling me,
right,
saying we're concerned about our parents. We want our parents to live comfortably. We want them to live independently.
Yeah.
And there's a whole myriad of reasons for that too, because they may say, hey, we can't afford to help our parents financially, and if you just come in and give them this reverse mortgage that pays off their existing mortgage,
right,
and retire their mortgage payment forever, they're going to be in such better situation. And we don't care what we inherit. If we inherit $1, that's great. But we want them, because they raised us, they put us through school, they did braces, and we just want to do something that's the right thing.
Now, that was the exact scenario with my sister and I, that we know full well, on average, we will inherit zero from my mom, with the exception of my sister and I will fight over who gets to keep the Campbell soup collection, right? Then she can have the dogs. I'll go for the Campbell soup collection, maybe, right? But
Good choice.
we won't have any big inheritance because we want my mom to spend as much as she needs to and wants to be happy. So that's why the reverse mortgage was perfect for us, because that's exactly where we were. And I love that. I think that I want to finish with this question. I've asked you this before, but where can people find out more and get in touch with you? I heard that you have a brand new website. Is that right?
I do. I do. It's reverse mortgage 1776.com.
Reverse mortgage 1776. There's something familiar about that. Anyway, I love
Well,
that.
the name of the company is Independence Reverse Mortgage Solutions.
I love
But
that.
that was just too long of an email.
Reverse mortgage 1776.com.
Yep.
All right, Pete, thank you again for taking the time and to go through this. If any other updates and things come through, we'll probably do this again. For all of our senior clients, friends, families, moms and dads listening, or those with moms and dads hunkered down in quarantine, we're all in this together. And if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Pete. You know where to find us. Take care. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Craig. Always a pleasure.
We'll be right back.